Jamaica's history is a complex web of struggle, triumph, and the quest for justice. From the days of colonial rule to independence and beyond, the island has celebrated remarkable achievements in governance, social progress, and economic development. Yet, woven alongside these successes is a darker thread, a series of political scandals that have repeatedly shaken the nation to its core. These scandals are more than mere headlines or passing controversies. They are moments when power, greed, and ambition collided with the lives of ordinary Jamaicans. They are stories of betrayal, where the very leaders entrusted to serve the public instead chose personal gain, partisan advantage, or foreign interests. The consequences were real: lives lost, livelihoods destroyed, public trust shattered, and institutions left weakened. From deadly acts of political violence to the misappropriation of millions in public funds, Jamaica has witnessed events so explosive that they reverberate decades later. They exposed weaknesses in governance, corruption at the highest levels, and the human cost of political rivalry. These scandals did not just tarnish reputations, they reshaped the political landscape, influenced elections, and left scars that generations still feel. Now, to understand Jamaica today, its politics, its economy, and its society, one must confront these moments of betrayal and mismanagement. They are warnings and lessons, reminders that democracy and progress are fragile and must be fiercely protected. So, as we explore the most shocking, consequential, and enduring scandals in Jamaica's history, we will uncover the names, dates, and events that continue to haunt the nation and reveal the truth behind the headlines that once shook every corner of the island. 1. The Green Bay Massacre. It was early 1978, a time of tension and bloodshed in Jamaican politics. The rivalry between the People's National Party and the Jamaica Labour Party had already claimed many lives. But nothing prepared the country for what would unfold at the Green Bay Artillery Range in St. Catherine on the morning of January 5th, 1978. That day, a group of men from Kingston's South Side, known supporters of the JLP, were approached with an offer of jobs. They were told they would be taken to a military base to discuss employment. Trusting the promise, they boarded a truck. But it was a trap. When they arrived at Green Bay, soldiers opened fire. 5 men were killed instantly. One man, Delroy Griffiths, somehow survived, though badly wounded. His testimony years later was chilling. Quote, "That was wickedness. The army said they're going to give man work, and then gun come out and kill them. The government take us for fools." End quote.
Godfather tonight and come forward. What Godfather and come forward, and me hear the man talk about this thing, and I said the man said, "Who don't come meeting can't come again."
Names of the officers surfaced in court records. Major Ian Robinson and Captain Carl Marsh were among those indicted. But despite charges, no one was ever convicted. A coroner's inquest acknowledged the killings, yet justice never came. And then there was the infamous statement from Dudley Thompson, senior PNP figure, who declared, quote, "No angels died at Green Bay."
After Green Bay, And first, let me explain this. When the massacre, I call it a massacre because that's what it was. Let's be clear about it. The government said nobody. Looking at it quite objectively, it was a planned massacre, not by the government, but by the intelligence service, the military intelligence. There was a competition between the military and the police intelligence. There was a conflict there. The military came up, military intelligence, I forget his name now, I'll never remember it and don't want to, who's leading the military intelligence, concocted a plan, as I see it objectively, that they would take some of these people from the south side, carry them over to this place and shoot them up. And they followed. They were misled. Now, many were among them. They were misled. I think 10. I said, you know, as long as there are guns coming into this country, you're going to have trouble. As long as there are guns coming in here, there's going to be a lot of things. There's going to be more than one Green Bay. The people who went out there were not angels.
Now for grieving families and outraged citizens, those words were salt in an open wound. The Green Bay Massacre went down in history, not only as a massacre, but as proof that partisan politics had poisoned the very institutions meant to protect the people. It left a stain on the Michael Manley government that could never be washed away. 2. The Shell Waiver scandal. 13 years later, Jamaica was rocked again, not by bullets, but by boardroom politics. In December 1991, the People's National Party was forced into crisis when it was revealed that the government had quietly granted Shell Jamaica Limited a massive duty waiver, valued between 29 and 40 million Jamaican dollars. At a time when ordinary Jamaicans were struggling with rising prices, this looked like blatant favoritism. The deal sparked outrage from the opposition and from citizens who saw it as yet another case of the powerful protecting the powerful. The fallout was swift. P.J. Patterson, then Minister of Finance, was forced to resign. His ally, Horace Clark, was dismissed from cabinet. The scandal shook the foundations of the Manley administration and brought the PNP into disrepute. But Patterson, defiant even in resignation, uttered the words that would define his political resilience. Quote, "I shall return." End quote. And return he did, becoming Prime Minister not long after. Yet, for many, the Shell Waiver scandal symbolized how deeply corporate interests had infiltrated government, and how ordinary Jamaicans were left to carry the burden while deals were made in secret at the top. So if you find videos like these interesting or eye-opening, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. 3. The Trafigura Affair.
The Privy Council dismissed the appeal by the People's National Party in the Trafigura case to have the matter held behind closed doors. In its ruling handed down on Monday, the UK-based Privy Council said the matter should be held in open court, to which members of the public have access along with the media.
If Shell was a domestic scandal, the Trafigura Affair in 2006 took things international. In September of that year, it emerged that Trafigura Affair, a Dutch oil trading firm, had transferred 31 million Jamaican dollars to the PNP. The payment was linked to oil lifting contracts between the company and Jamaica's government. The revelation sent shockwaves across the island. The opposition, led by Bruce Golding, demanded immediate answers. He asked the question that cut to the heart of the matter. Quote, "What does she know? And when did she know it?" End quote. Aimed directly at Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller. The PNP scrambled to return the money, but the scandal refused to die. Dutch authorities investigated. Jamaican courts issued subpoenas for top PNP figures. Simpson Miller, Colin Campbell, Philip Palwell, and Robert Pickersgill all found themselves entangled in legal proceedings. For years, the case dragged on, becoming a symbol of secrecy, denial, and a political culture willing to flirt with foreign money for partisan gain. The Trafigura Affair was more than just a scandal. It was a turning point. It shattered illusions of clean governance and showed Jamaicans how international business and local politics could intersect in the murkiest of ways. 4. The Petrojam Scandal. In 2018, the Petrojam scandal broke, and with it came one of the most detailed exposés of government mismanagement in modern Jamaica. Petrojam, the state-owned oil refinery, was supposed to serve the people. Instead, reports revealed it had become a playground for political connections, waste, and outright corruption. There were inflated travel costs, questionable contract awards, unexplained phone bills, and even birthday cakes charged to the public purse. The Auditor General's report and the Integrity Commission laid bare the evidence: nepotism in board appointments, procurement breaches, and misuse of funds. The man at the center was Dr. Andrew Wheatley, the Minister of Energy. By July 2018, the pressure became unbearable. He resigned, though he firmly denied all wrongdoing, insisting that his appointments were legitimate and above board. But the opposition seized the moment. Peter Phillips, then leader of the PNP, thundered that Petrojam was the mother of all scandals. The Petrojam case dragged into 2020, with legal wrangling, denials, and public anger. For many Jamaicans, it confirmed their worst fears, that public institutions were being treated as personal treasure chests, where accountability was optional, and taxpayers were the ones left footing the bill. 5. The FINSAC crisis.
I finished paying them 2006. By the time I finished, I had paid a total of 150 million for that $15 million loan.
The last scandal was less dramatic in its headlines, but far more devastating in its impact. In the 1990s, Jamaica's financial sector collapsed. Banks and insurance companies failed under the weight of bad loans, mismanagement, and reckless oversight. So to contain the chaos, the government created the Financial Sector Adjustment Company, or FINSAC, on January 29, 1997. Its mandate was to take over failing institutions, clean them up, and stabilize the system. But for thousands of ordinary Jamaicans, FINSAC became a nightmare. Homes were repossessed, small businesses were shuttered, and lifelong savings were wiped out. While wealthy investors snapped up assets at bargain prices, ordinary people were left destitute. Economists later wrote that FINSAC saddled Jamaica with one of the largest debt burdens in its history, a weight that dragged down the economy for decades. Families who lost everything during the FINSAC years still tell stories of despair, of watching their life's work sold off in the name of financial rescue. FINSAC was more than an economic policy. It was a social earthquake. It created a class of dispossessed Jamaicans and cemented distrust in government handling of the economy. So, from the bullets of Green Bay to the boardrooms of Shell, from Trafigura's foreign millions to Petrojam's squandered billions, and finally the silent dispossession of FINSAC, Jamaica's history of political scandals tells a sobering story. These were not just missteps or mistakes. They were betrayals of public trust, carried out at the highest levels of power. For the people of Jamaica, the scars remain. And if history has taught us anything, It is that political scandals are never just about money or power. They are about lives, lives lost, lives ruined, and lives forever changed. If you found this video interesting or informative, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to Elite Jamaica, as that really does help the channel. Thank you for watching.